From God is dead to a civilization searching for meaning. There was a time when the highest buildings on earth were not banks, government offices, or corporate headquarters. They were cathedrals. Their spires stretched toward heaven, reminding every passerby that above kings, wealth, and ambition stood something greater than man himself. For centuries, God was not merely believed in. He was the horizon against which Western civilization measured truth, justice, beauty, and purpose. Whether people lived faithfully or failed miserably, there remained an objective standard beyond human opinion. Then something changed. Not overnight, not through a single revolution, but slowly, almost imperceptibly, Europe began to lose its faith. Churches remained. The language of morality remained, but belief itself began to fade. It was Friedrich Nietzsche who gave this transformation its most famous expression. God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. Few sentences in philosophy have been quoted more often. Few have been misunderstood more deeply. Nietzsche was not celebrating the death of God. He was diagnosing the death of belief. He looked upon Europe and saw a civilization that had quietly stopped believing in the very foundation upon which it had built its morality. The danger, he warned, was not atheism itself. The danger was what would come after. If there is no highest authority beyond ourselves, then upon what foundation do we build right and wrong? If morality is no longer rooted in something eternal, who decides what is good? Governments? Majorities? The powerful? The loudest voices? Or each individual for himself? These were not abstract questions. They would become the defining questions of the modern age. For human beings cannot live without meaning. We cannot exist without something that tells us what is worth sacrificing for, what is worth protecting, and what gives suffering a purpose. If we remove one ultimate value, another inevitably rises to take its place. History has shown this again and again. When God no longer occupied the highest throne, humanity did not cease to worship. It simply found new gods. Some worshipped the nation, others the race. Some worshipped political ideology, others wealth, pleasure, progress, technology, or the self. The object changed, the instinct did not. Because the human heart has always sought something ultimate. The 20th century would reveal what can happen when entire civilizations place ultimate devotion in earthly ideals. The First World War shattered an old Europe. The Second World War demonstrated the horrifying consequences of totalitarian ideologies that demanded absolute loyalty. Nazism and Stalinism each elevated political systems above individual dignity, leading to catastrophic suffering. These events had many historical causes, but they also illustrate what can happen when any human institution claims ultimate authority. The lesson is not that belief in God automatically prevents evil, nor that disbelief inevitably causes it. History is more complicated than that. Rather, it is that when people seek ultimate meaning, they often place it somewhere. And where they place it profoundly shapes both individuals and societies. After the wars, many believed science, technology, and prosperity would finally answer humanity's deepest questions. They cured diseases, reached the moon, built computers, connected the planet. Yet despite unprecedented progress, anxiety, loneliness, depression, addiction, polarization, and mistrust continued to rise in many societies. Never had humanity possessed so much information. Never had it seemed so uncertain about what life is for. Today, we no longer merely disagree. We inhabit different realities. Families divide over politics. Friendships collapse over ideology. Algorithms reward outrage. Attention has become currency. Identity has become a battlefield. We have learned to master nature, yet we often struggle to master ourselves. Perhaps the deepest crisis of modern civilization is not political or technological. Perhaps it is spiritual, not necessarily because everyone must return to a particular religion, but because every civilization must eventually answer the same question: what is highest? Whatever occupies that place will determine how we live, what we sacrifice for, whom we trust, and, if we are not careful, whom we are willing to destroy. As G.K. Chesterton famously observed, when people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing, they believe in anything. Whether or not one accepts that conclusion, the question remains urgent. If God no longer sits upon the throne of our civilization, who does?